The most successful team principal of the hybrid era being publicly exposed by the former all-powerful figurehead of the category, bluntly calling him an idiot in front of the entire world. This is exactly what's happening with Christian Horner, who, after years of dominance at the helm of Red Bull Racing, saw his empire crumble amid internal scandals, compromising messages, and an unprecedented crisis that culminated in his dismissal. And at the center of this storm is none other than Bernie Ecclestone, the former Formula One boss, who decided to break his silence and say exactly what he thinks about the whole situation. But what really happened? How did a team as dominant as Red Bull get to this point? Who are the culprits behind the scenes? And most importantly, what's next for one of the greatest powers in modern F1? Stay until the end to not miss a single detail. Like and subscribe to the channel. Christian Horner's departure in 2025 marked the end of one of the most successful and at the same time most controversial cycles in recent Formula One history. For nearly 2 decades, Horner was the face of Red Bull Racing. He led the team since its debut in the category in 2005, won 4 titles with Sebastian Vettel between 2010 and 2013, and re-emerged even stronger during the Verstappen era, adding 5 more drivers and constructors titles between 2021 and 2023. But in 2025, what was once seen as an insurmountable wall began to crumble from within. The collapse didn't come from a lack of victories, but rather from a succession of questionable decisions, hushed-up internal scandals, and a crisis-ridden management that became a veritable textbook of what not to do in the corporate and sporting worlds. Horner's downfall is much more than the end of a leadership role. It's a reflection of Red Bull's most turbulent period in modern Formula One. Things began to get worse in early 2024 when allegations of improper conduct involving Horner and a team employee surfaced. The leaked messages, allegedly of inappropriate content, shocked F1 insiders and sparked an internal investigation that, although quickly concluded by Red Bull, which cleared Horner, failed to convince the paddock, much less the fans. Although he managed to remain in office amid the pressure, Horner's credibility was shaken. And the situation only worsened when, behind the scenes, influential figures like Helmut Marko and even the CEO of Red Bull GmbH began showing signs of wear and tear with the team boss. Dietrich Mateschitz' death in 2022 left a power vacuum that Horner attempted to fill, but without the same charisma, balance, or respect as the founder. He began to over-centralize decisions, sideline strategic figures, and transform Red Bull into a divided environment, all while on-track results began to decline. The 2025 season was the true turning point. Until the British GP, Red Bull had won only 2 of the 12 races contested. Max Verstappen, while still competitive, was unable to assert himself as he had in previous years, and the RB20 was showing signs of instability, especially against the growing strength of McLaren and Mercedes. Internally, engineers and senior members began to express frustration with Horner's management. The team no longer exuded the innovative and aggressive spirit that had made it famous. Instead, it seemed trapped in an environment of distrust, tension, and centralized decision-making. All of this exploded at the Austrian GP, where an internal source leaked new excerpts of messages that had allegedly been omitted from the initial investigation. The case resurfaced with full force, reigniting the ethical debate and, most importantly, generating dissatisfaction within Red Bull's own headquarters in Austria. The pressure became unbearable. Ecclestone, who had remained silent until then, decided to speak out, and he didn't mince words. He called Horner simply an idiot and declared that he behaved like a 20-year-old when he was already over 50. The former F1 boss's remarks were a bombshell in the paddock and put even more pressure on Red Bull shareholders. Ecclestone even suggested that Horner should have resigned at the start of the scandal, and that his continued presence only served to further tarnish the team's image. Horner, for his part, tried to resist, even mobilizing allies behind the scenes, but it was too late. In July 2025, the official announcement came. Christian Horner was leaving Red Bull Racing. No press conference, no public farewell, just a dry, to-the-point statement announcing that a new cycle would begin under the leadership of Laurent Mekies. Let us know what you think of this change in the comments. The end of Horner's tenure exposes a curious and all-too-common phenomenon behind the scenes in F1. Too much power, for too long, without checks and balances, is often destructive. Horner left a victorious legacy, undeniably, but he also leaves with his image deeply tarnished, mired in controversies that transcend the track and enter the realm of professional ethics. What was once a symbol of stability and performance has become a warning sign for any team that values its reputation as much as its performance. Red Bull is now entering a new era, and like any rebuild after a storm, the path promises to be turbulent, full of reassessments and difficult choices. Horner has twice been cleared of allegations of sexual harassment and coercive behavior, although a drive widely circulated WhatsApp screenshots purportedly showing messages between him and a female employee have caused a global media storm and serious embarrassment. The content was never officially published through traditional media, but several excerpts were circulating behind the scenes, and, according to reports from sources such as The Guardian and BBC Sport, the messages involve conversations of a personal and intimate nature, with insinuations inappropriate for the corporate environment, even more so coming from the team's CEO. Red Bull launched an internal investigation conducted by an independent legal firm in the UK. However, criticism began to mount even then. The investigation was seen as biased, extremely rushed, and managed with little transparency. Horner denied all allegations. In February 2024, after just over a month of investigation, Red Bull announced that it had concluded the process and considered the case closed, keeping Horner in his position. But it took just 24 hours for the cauldron to boil over again. A dossier containing more than 70 pages of alleged messages sent by Horner was leaked anonymously to various paddock figures, including team principals, journalists, and even FIA representatives. The content was not officially published, but sources within the Times and the Sky Sports confirmed that these were highly compromising conversations, with prints, audio, and details that are difficult to refute. This leak was a watershed moment. What was once a manageable case, treated as an internal matter by Red Bull, turned into a public scandal. An even more serious point came to light weeks later. According to some sources, Horner reportedly attempted to negotiate a silent settlement with the employee involved, offering financial compensation and promising structural changes to the team. This attempt, which was unsuccessful, sounded like an informal admission of guilt to many within the paddock. Internal sources claim that the employee's refusal to accept this agreement was decisive in the leaking of the dossier. Apparently, this was an attempt to expose not only the content of the messages, but also the way the team tried to hush up the case, treating it as a simple matter of internal relations. Before I continue, please like and subscribe to the channel so that the YouTube algorithm recommends this video. And let's get started. Ecclestone, who has made several derogatory comments about women over the years, didn't have much sympathy for the woman who accused Horner of inappropriate behavior. I always wonder when these situations happen. Why? If the girl is so upset by someone's advances, doesn't she just say, "Hey, you, stop it," he said. The 94-year-old Briton went on to detail how Red Bull bosses at the energy drink company's Austrian headquarters felt there was too much power concentrated in Milton Keynes under Horner. It probably would have been better if they had said, "Come in, Christian, have a seat," he said. But the bottom line is that there were people there who thought he was getting away with things, that he was acting like he wasn't Red Bull Racing. He was Christian Horner Racing. He got away with a lot of things. And as long as you're doing well, people look away. But when you stop doing well, people start looking. One or two people start thinking, well, I could do a better job. Ecclestone also noted the power struggle that has unfolded within the company following the death of Red Bull co-founder Dietrich Mateschitz in 2022. It was a bit of a mess, actually, Ecclestone said. Christian was the CEO. If I'm the CEO of a company, I want to be in charge. I want to do everything I think is right. And if I'm wrong, they can fire me. They can say, "Sorry, bye, you made some mistakes." So the moment Christian can't be in that position to do what he thinks should be done, it's not going to be easy for him. You can't manage something halfway. I always say you need someone to turn the lights on and off. In reality, you only need one person. Ecclestone theorized that Horner's insistence on playing a key role in all areas of the business led to his downfall. I know it was suggested to him that he should be a team principal and leave the business side to someone else, Ecclestone continued. His mindset was, I'm the CEO. But there are very few executives who can do everything from engineering to public relations. He was running the company the way he thought it should be run. For a long time, people were prepared to say, okay, fair enough, he's doing the job. But as soon as you step back a bit, people look and say, hang on. Christian won a lot of championships. He was used to winning. So it's not easy when you're not winning. And when you know it's not entirely your fault. With Christian Horner's permanent departure, Red Bull faces its biggest institutional challenge yet. Laurent Mekies, formerly of Ferrari and AlphaTauri, was chosen to take over as team general manager, and although his arrival was welcomed by the paddock, the task ahead is daunting. In less than 6 months, Mekies will have to rebuild internal trust, stem the loss of strategic talent, and reposition Red Bull as a technical and ethical force within F1. The 2025 season, already shaping up to be challenging, now turns into a veritable minefield for the Austrian team. So tell me, what did you think of this video? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a thing.